Chapter 16, Mishnah 3. This Mishnah discusses cases where a body or several bodies were found buried in a place that was not known to have any graves. It deals with whether a person may remove the body or bodies from the ground and rebury them somewhere else, and whether he must check the area for more graves. As a rule, a Jewish corpse may not be relocated once it has been buried. However, if it was originally buried in a place only temporarily, with the intention of later reburying it somewhere else, it may be moved. If a body is buried in a cemetery, we assume that it was intended to remain there permanently. But when a body is found in the ground where there is no cemetery, we do not know whether it was buried there with the intention of later moving it to a cemetery, but for some reason was forgotten, or whether it was buried with the intention that it remain in that place. The Mishnah discusses what should be done in such a case. If someone finds a dead body, and it is the first body found in this area, and it was laid out in the normal way in which Jews are buried, he may take it together with the earth associated with it, i.e. the earth underneath the body that likely absorbed some fluids from the body, and bury it somewhere else. This is because when a single body is found, and it is not near other bodies, we assume that the area was not a cemetery, and that the body was buried there with the intention that it would be later moved. If he found two bodies in the same area, the law is the same. He may take them together with the earth associated with them and bury them somewhere else, because we still do not assume that the area was a cemetery. The Mishnah now teaches the law in a case where three bodies are found. In the times of the Mishnah, people were often buried in recesses dug into the walls of a cave. See chapter 15, Mishnah 8. Burial caves typically measured 4 amos by 6 amos, and bodies were buried in the walls on 3 sides of the cave. The fourth side of the cave opened into a courtyard, which measured 6 amos by 6 amos. On the opposite side of the courtyard, there would be another cave, in which more bodies were buried, and which also measured 4 by 6 amos. Based on this, the Mishnah teaches the law when 3 bodies are found. If he found 3 bodies, if between the first body and the third body there is a separation of between 4 and 8 amos, this is considered a cemetery area, since this is how bodies would have been arranged in the burial cave. Therefore, he may not move them, because they were presumably buried with the intention that they remained there. Since we assume that he found a burial cave, we must also suspect that there is another burial cave nearby, because 2 burial caves usually opened into a common courtyard. Therefore, he must check to see if there are more bodies. He must search for 20 amos past the place where he found the bodies, because the distance from the back wall of one cave to the back wall of the opposite cave would have been about 20 amos. If he then found even one body at the end of those 20 amos, we assume that it is located in another burial cave. Therefore, he may not move that body either. And he must search for 20 amos past that body, because the matter has legs to stand on. That is, there is now reason to think that there may be more burial caves in the area. The Mishnah elaborates, explaining what is meant by the matter has legs to stand on. If at first he had found only this last body with no others close by, he would have been allowed to take it, together with the earth associated with it, and bury it somewhere else, because we would have assumed that the body was not meant to be buried there. But now that he has first found 3 other bodies that were buried in what appears to be a burial cave, we assume that this more distant body was also in a burial cave, and it may not be moved. In addition, he must check to see if there are any more bodies and caves in the area.